This is my street. This is early March 2018 and this snowstorm was named the Beast from the East. 6 inches deep snow, pretty hard for cars to move. They certainly don't go uphill. It's meant that there's no work happening, no public transport happening. It means that I have to stay at home, and with all my time at home, I've been working on my bike. Working in the garage has been made possible by this space heater and a great big bottle of colour gas. You can see I've used 2/3 of a bottle. 3 days of working here with this thing blasting. The only way I could work in this garage is by having this going, but it's fucking noisy. It drowned out the radio, which was a bit annoying, and it also made the place stink of carbon monoxide, so I had to open the back door a few times. However, without this, no work would have got done in here. So thank you, Davey, for the gift of this space heater. This is a photo of how the bike used to look. So that's the GPZ 500S tank that I put on. That's the fairing screen headlight setup that I put on. I'm happy enough with both of them. The seat, the tank meant that I couldn't use the old seat, so I had to quickly make a seat if I was going to get to the Apocalyptica show last autumn. I got the seat on, but then due to a family illness I couldn't get to the show. But what I don't like is, look at the seat. It's a great big square block. And if you look at the lines on the bike, you've got this natural line here coming up from the frame, you've got another line here coming up from the frame, you've got another line here coming through the tank. So you get all these diagonal lines pointing sort of upwards and back. So those are the natural lines of the bike. I'm going to try and follow those. And now I'll move this picture. So this is what I'm aiming for. Use lots and lots of Microsoft Paint. Use Microsoft Paint to obscure bits of it and to draw on various versions of it. So the plan now is to have this spiky seat unit thing at the back. And that will follow the line of this frame loop here, and this frame line here will go into there. And I'll continue this line of this here forward and backwards here. So the plan is now to use to make this at the back here. The other thing to notice about how the bike looked is that the frame was still in silver. Swing arm was still a kind of whitish grey colour. That used to be black. It used to be white, but it's now black. So let's look at the bike. Here's the back of the bike. From here and upwards is where my new Lawson Rep tailpiece is going to go on here. But this is fairly structural welding, and I don't trust my own abilities. I know that I can weld a seat bracket or a headlamp bracket, but I'm not willing to weld something that's going to take a load of weight. So fortunately, my friend Dave, who is a superb motorcycle builder, is going to do this for me. But the problem is the snow. He couldn't get his van out. Nobody can drive. He can't bring his van to collect the bike and take it away. I've had all these 3 days where I couldn't do anything because too much snow. So what can I do? I've had to find things to do to pass the time. So the first thing is I want to make seat mounts. Wait a minute, I'll show you my ideas. Back to the drawing. Instead of having that big square blocky seat, what I want is a seat which slopes diagonally upwards as well, which follows the lines of the bike. So that's what I've been trying to make. That took a while to make these things. So these things here, this is how my seat will stick on. So there you go. Various bits of U channel and right angle cut, welded, filed, so it will bolt on through here. It will bolt onto these seat supports that I made last year. Nice to know that I'm not going to be throwing my old throw the old piece of work away. So yeah, my engineering isn't pretty, but hey, it's strong. It ain't going to break. I had to buy a new welder. This one here, the bottom one, is the old welder, and it was second hand when it came to me, and it eventually died. Various things went wrong with it, and then I got offered a second hand welder for less than the price of the parts to fix the original one, so I bought that. The only problem is that the new welder only takes the small gas bottles, and the old welder has the big bottle. So for now, the new welder sits on the back of the old one and is connected up to the gas, a bit like kind of Master Blaster out of Thunderdome. And I've also painted the back wheel matte black, put a plastic bag over the sprocket and over the disc. There's some rear foot peg hangers there. Not sure if I'm going to use them, but whilst I'm at it, I might as well paint them black. Painted the swing arm is now black. The frame is now black. I had to relocate this is the reservoir fluid, sorry, the radiator fluid reservoir. That used to be at the back over there, but that's not going to be chopped away, so I needed to move this, so that now lives under the tank. If you look here, can you see? Yeah, it focuses in. It's nice and rough here. Now, that rough stuff is this. So this is my, every time I've been using the bench grinder, I've been sweeping up everything that comes off it, saving it in this jam jar. And so I just, when the paint was wet, sprinkled in a load of these steel grindings into it. So when it rains, it's going to rust, and that will just run rust all the way down the frame. So hopefully that will look cool. And I've even done the same thing. I've painted part of the of this nose fairing, mostly because it was transparent, so you could see the back of the clocks in there. And I don't like that, so I painted it. And that's got some of the steel filings on it too, so what will be interesting is the black plastic will rust. Only after the apocalypse will you get rusty plastic. And the last thing I've done is I've made a chain guard extender. Chain guard is too short. It allows for some of the chain lube to be flung up the back, so it'll cover my luggage. It could even cover me, and fuck that. Getting covered in chain lube is not cool, no matter how ratty you want to look. Getting covered in stinking fucking horrible chain lube is horrible. So this thing I made out of this stuff, which is my big sheet of 3mm thick polycarbonate. In true Blue Peter style, I made a template out of cardboard. Used an old pizza box. Made a template out of cardboard and glued it on with special epoxy glue. Heated it with the heat gun to bend it and sprayed it black. Might just shape it a bit better, but anyway. So, this is what you do when you get locked in by a snowdrift, is you make bits of your post-apocalyptic motorbike. So, hopefully, by the time all this snow melts and spring comes, I can be riding it. See you on the road, skags!